It's probably assumed that you know the story of Pocahontas, a young Native American woman who saves the life of a captain named John Smith. It's a popular tale from 1608 that eventually got transformed into a Disney production in 1995. In spite of knowing the begone tale of Pocahontas in Disney's adaptation, people are now even more familiar with the story, all thanks to Disney. In this video, we highlight the history of Pocahontas, how Disney adapted Pocahontas into what it is today, and how successful Pocahontas was. All of this information from Pocahontas from Disney and in real life helps us better understand and define Disneyfication.
We define Disneyfication as taking literature and rebuilding them into multi-billion-dollar blockbusters that are suitable for global audiences and modern-day society. Disney creates an illusion for viewers that they have entered a perfect world, which closely conforms to their desires.
While she was growing up, her life started mixing with the English settlers. After a while, they started thinking very highly of her. There have been legends, books, and paintings portraying her, and she is considered a storybook princess, including Disney's Pocahontas. Between 1608 and 1610, when Pocahontas was 10 to 12 years old, she was in charge of negotiating releases of Powhatan prisoners, and it was noted that she often shielded the colonists from her father's wrath. During the first year, many of the settlers died from things like starvation and illnesses. The Powhatan tribe would often visit the settlers, having friendly meetings, and would bring them things such as fruit and corn. They would give them as gifts, or they would trade them. In return, the settlers would give them metal tools. They sometimes thought the tribe stole their things, but without them, the settlers would not have survived. After 1610, Pocahontas stopped visiting the Jamestown colony voluntarily due to the First Anglo-Powhatan War starting. This started partly because she was spending so much time with the colonists. In the spring of 1613, she was captured by the colonists to try to keep the violence from happening. It was around this time she converted to Christianity, had her name changed to Rebecca, and met John Rolfe. Pocahontas and Ralph wed in April 1614 as more of a way to end the war. She moved to England with Ralph and their infant son Thomas and started a tour around England to get people to invest in the Jamestown colony. By the time she met the king, he had already thought highly of her due to John Smith telling him about how she helped them escape death, famine, and confusion by teaching them how to live in their new environment. At the age of 22, Pocahontas died of tuberculosis on her way back to Virginia and was buried in England. Disney's Pocahontas is Disney's first attempt to reproduce a historical event, rather than a fairy tale like Tangled. But why did Disney change so many aspects of Pocahontas when it already was a true living story? Disney is doing what it typically does with their movies, taking a well-known tale and molding it into an easy-to-digest movie with music, graphics, and even more. Many people aren't able to pick out the historical inaccuracies that Disney put into the movie Pocahontas. For example, the real Pocahontas is only about 12 years old when she met John Smith and saved his life, and John Smith was around 28. Disney made Pocahontas appear to be relatively the same age as John Smith to have a romance with the historical characters. Historically, with the extensive age difference, there actually wasn't a romance between John Smith and Pocahontas, but Disney created this romantic relationship, and in fact, it is the first Disney movie to have an interracial relationship. Again, this is a typical Disney move, conforming to society. It's entertaining for all audiences and definitely more realistic at the time, rather than a 28-year-old man being in love with a 12-year-old. Another inaccuracy not included in the movie was that, in real life, Pocahontas passed away with tuberculosis at a very young age. This is a scene that is not included in the movie. Disney didn't include such a tragic death in their movie because it would be hard to have a child watch the film where the strong, heroic main character dies a painful death. It would defeat the corporation Disney is trying to be, a family-friendly environment.
After the film was created, many people are inspired by the known history and folktales surrounding the Native American woman Pocahontas. She was one of the first women to play an important role in what became the United States. The movie taught many people valuable lessons such as the love for both the environment and one another. Also, Pocahontas is not like the other Disney films that have been produced. It teaches kids that we are more like people from a different culture and race than we think. Pocahontas in the movie states, in a circle and a hoop that never ends. Also, the film taught the audience that we can attain knowledge and look through a new perspective. For example, in the movie, it states, if we walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew. Another valuable element that taught children and even young adults was to be bold. Pocahontas stands up for what she believes in and eventually saves the love of her life, John Smith. Children that age around 4 to 5 have many positive observations towards the film. For instance, one child explained, Pocahontas must be very smart to know so much about nature. Pocahontas is shown as a smart and strong woman with her own agenda who does not accept the fate assigned to her.
Disney's Pocahontas followed The Lion King, which grossed more than $300 million in the United States alone. Before the release, the movie critics said Pocahontas would not achieve the success of The Lion King because it is a love story that has a female character as its main protagonist. This was a huge step for Disney to make the hero as a woman, especially in the 1990s. Girls are more willing to watch a movie with a male main role, but boys are not willing to watch a movie with a female main role. They have the facts to back this information. The Little Mermaid and The Beauty and the Beast, they note, were far more modest successes than Aladdin and The Lion King, which both have male leads and adventure themes. The critics did not foresee this movie doing well at the box office. The criticism of Pocahontas' age, the actual history, and her relationship with John Smith largely overshadowed the fact that Disney had for the first time based an entire picture around an adult female, let alone a woman of color. It is unfortunate that this sad story, which Euro-Americans should find embarrassing, Disney makes entertainment and perpetuates a dishonest and self-serving myth at the expense of a Powhatan nation. In response to criticism from the Powhatan Nation, Roy Disney released a statement saying that Pocahontas was respectful, accurate, and responsible. Jim Pentecost, the producer of Disney's Pocahontas, stated that Pocahontas is the strongest heroine we've ever had in a Disney film. Disney, for the first time, provided an independent and fearless heroine with a strong sense of self.
Disneyfication is simply transforming something, in this case, a historical event, into a movie, made into a more controlling and safe environment with similar qualities. Disney plays the role in childhood value, identity, gender, and memory. Disney created Pocahontas to meet the qualifications of present-day society, as long as many other Disney movies. Disney created Pocahontas not just to be an informational documentary of the past. They did it for entertainment and not just a history lesson. They drastically changed the ages of Pocahontas and John Smith, making them closer in age for a more appropriate love story. They made the romance between these two characters much stronger in the movie. The history, the audience's reactions, the success, and even the historical inaccuracies Disney had incorporated into the movie Pocahontas helped shape Disneyfication into what it is today. Whether these aspects may be positive or negative, they are able to help understand more into what Disney is and what makes Disneyfication Disneyfication. It is mentioned earlier that Disneyfication is taking literature and rebuilding them into multi-billion blockbusters that are suitable for global audiences in modern-day society. Disney shows great examples of altering literature into something more entertaining and family-friendly. Disney's intended goals are to produce movies that everyone is able to enjoy, no matter what age, race, or identity you are. Disney wants you to enjoy their works, and by doing so, they conform to your cultures and beliefs. This is what Disney truly does best, playing a huge part into your everyday life and makes your dreams come true.
colors of the wind. You can own the earth and still all you'll own is earth until you can